Let's be clear. The biggest and most impactful way we can carry on Charlie Kirk's legacy is by first getting our own houses in order, pressing in to becoming better fathers, mothers, spouses, etc. Pressing in towards actionable obedience to Christ. If we hear the truth, feel good about it, but don't actually put it into practice, we deceive ourselves. The sign of a mature Christian is their selfless love for others, not their gifting, nor their knowledge. God could choose to gift and use a rock to accomplish his will if he wanted to. But the character of Christ is tempered over years of obedience to Jesus. Paul was clear on this point that knowledge apart from love puffs up, and giftings apart from love are useless. Knowledge and gifts are indeed important, but they are only secondary to love itself. Do not merely post on social media while leaving your home loveless. Do not merely say the right things for likes while leaving your marriage empty. Do not forget the call of Christ on our lives to love fiercely, to forgive our enemies, and to sacrifice for others. Sometimes posting or saying the right things, going to church, and reading our Bibles can make us feel like good Christians. But don't stop there. Press into what it truly means to be a disciple of Christ. That was a journal entry that I had the other day that I wrote down, and I don't journal a lot, to be honest, but sometimes I just, have some things that I got to get off my chest, and that was one of them. And one of the verses that I feel like God has been really impressing upon me for months now is the James chapter 1 verse 22. Be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. Learning how to put our faith into action beyond just filling our schedule with religious activities has been something that I've been wrestling with for years. There's a lot of good that comes from going to church, don't get me wrong. And there's a lot of good that comes from reading the Bible. I love the Bible, and I'm kind of obsessed with the Bible, so don't get me wrong. But I remember there was a point when I was obsessed with studying the Bible, just trying to figure out what I really believed, and I just got so into knowledge. It became kind of addicting, to be honest. And I remember at one point, God pricked my heart and told me, what good is all this knowledge if it's not changing the way you live, if it's not helping you learn to love people? And that was a turning point in my life that I can point back to now. Knowledge is not bad. In fact, knowledge is good in its rightful place. In fact, the Bible even talks about how the truth will set you free, that we can be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Scripture and the gospel and the Christian faith is a very robust worldview, one that you can spend years growing in your knowledge of and digging deep. But Paul is clear, if you first don't have love, and if you don't combine knowledge with love, then it just puffs up. And that's what it was doing to me back then. It was making me feel more superior, I guess, because I was gaining all this knowledge of the Bible, and my love wasn't growing along with my knowledge. So I took a long break, actually, from my studies. And believe it or not, I took a break from reading the Bible. Not because I stopped loving the Bible. No, I absolutely adore and am obsessed with the Bible. But I just felt in my soul that I needed to take a break from obtaining knowledge so that my heart could catch up, so that I could learn to apply the knowledge to grow in love. I see a lot of different extremes. It's easy to focus on one area or the other, but in order to become a mature Christian, in order for the church to become a mature church, we really need to grasp all of these realities together. Being able to grasp knowledge and having a strong mind, also with a strong heart, and being able to love. Knowledge and love, they're not antithetical to each other. They're not opposed to each other. In fact, they're supposed to be combined and work together. You see a lot of pastors today fail that are extremely gifted pastors, and it breaks my heart. But one of the things that we need to make clear is that in order to become a leader, we have to understand what the qualifications are. And unfortunately, a lot of times what we qualify somebody for as a leader is based on their gifting. But when you look at the qualifications for leadership in the Bible, the main things that are brought up are their character. Are they of sound mind? Is their household in order? Are they mature? In fact, it goes so far as to say that new believers should not be in a position of leadership, or else they will become conceited. It's not trying to push down new believers. It's just that there's a reality of developing the character of Christ that it takes years to develop. And learning how to love and apply all these beautiful spiritual truths, it takes time. You can't shortcut that just by having a strong gifting in teaching or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I think giftings are also important. And I think that sometimes the church puts people in leadership that are not gifted for leadership roles, or puts people in teaching roles that are not gifted for teaching. So I think there's definitely a place for that as well. It's just that I think that we have put the emphasis somewhere that it shouldn't be. Our emphasis for leadership should be character first, and then giftings and knowledge. Going to seminary and getting a certificate that you have studied and you have knowledge should not be adequate qualification for somebody to be a pastor. Seminary may or may not be beneficial, but at the end of the day, you can go through seminary and get a seminary degree and be completely ungifted and not have the character of Christ. Knowledge by itself is not a qualification for leadership in the church. Anyways, these are my thoughts today. Tell me what you think. I can always be wrong. I try to approach these subjects with humility, and I try to remain always teachable. Love you guys.